disappeared. And as they disappeared,
Bad.
scared the crap out of me.
How cool.
Most horror movies say the same thing, based on a true story. But when Ed and Lorraine Warren are involved, that's not just a tagline, it's a warning. They were the most famous demonologists in American history, investigating over 10,000 paranormal cases, from cursed dolls to full-blown possessions. Hollywood turned their stories into blockbusters, but the truth behind those cases, much darker. Welcome to the Lost Tapes 404, where we don't just retell scary stories, we uncover the ones that actually happened. Tonight, we'll dive into 3 of the Warrens' most disturbing real-life cases. So grab some popcorn, turn off your lights, and whatever you do, don't look behind you. In 1986, Carmen and Al Snedeker were desperate. Their teenage son was battling cancer, and daily treatments at a hospital in Connecticut meant they needed a place to stay fast. They found what seemed like the perfect rental in Southington, a large, affordable duplex close to the hospital. Spacious, quiet, convenient. But the moment they moved in, something fell off. It started with the basement. Their son was placed in a downstairs room for privacy. But when they explored the space more closely, they discovered something deeply unsettling. The home had once been a funeral parlor, and it wasn't just the history. The embalming tables were still there, rusted, cold. Chains hung from the ceiling. An old casket lift groaned when they tested it. In a corner of the basement, behind a false wall, they found a box filled with photos of corpses. The air was heavy, damp, almost sticky, and it reeked of formaldehyde and decay. The landlord had said nothing. Their son, already weakened by illness, began experiencing terrifying visions. He spoke of shadows crawling across the walls, of whispers in Latin, low and guttural, like something ancient was trying to speak through the concrete. He'd wake up screaming, drenched in sweat, convinced that something was watching him from inside the walls. Then the rest of the family began to feel it too. Carmen saw a figure standing at the foot of her son's bed, tall, dark, and still. She tried to scream, but her voice wouldn't come out. Objects began to move on their own. Lights flickered, then exploded. Crosses vanished from the walls and reappeared upside down. And at night, something growled. The worst moments were the most unexplainable. They reported deeply disturbing attacks, held down, clawed at, and taunted in voices that didn't belong to anyone living. That's when they called Ed and Lorraine Warren. Lorraine described the energy in the basement as inhuman. She said it was one of the most dangerous presences she'd ever encountered, second only to Amityville. A full-blown exorcism was launched. Multiple priests, multiple days. The Warrens claimed several demons were cast out, but never confirmed exactly how many. The Snedekers moved out shortly after. To this day, no one knows how many bodies passed through that house or what might still be lingering in its walls, unseen and unfinished. But not every case the Warrens encountered ended with priests and prayers. Some ended with blood on the floor, and a killer claiming the devil made him do it. What came next would shake a courtroom, divide a nation, and make paranormal history. Brookfield, Connecticut, February 16, 1981. The scene was chaotic. Inside a small apartment above a dog kennel, 19-year-old Arnie Cheyenne Johnson stood over the lifeless body of his landlord, Alan Bono, holding a bloodied pocket knife. There were multiple witnesses. The stabbing had been vicious, 5 deep wounds to the chest and stomach. Alan Bono died within minutes. The motive? A simple argument. But when Arnie was arrested, he gave a defense no one had ever heard before. The devil made me do it. To understand how that claim came to be, you have to rewind the clock to the summer before. 10-year-old David Glatzel had started showing terrifying signs of possession after his family moved into a new rental home. He spoke of a dark figure, a man with hooved feet, jagged teeth, and black eyes like burning coal, who would appear in his bedroom at night, whispering threats in a language he didn't understand. He screamed of being choked and scratched, his body flailing with unseen forces. He began speaking Latin. His voice would change, sometimes deep and guttural, other times like a child mocking prayer. He spoke of death and even predicted a murder. Terrified and desperate, the Glatzel family reached out to Ed and Lorraine Warren, who quickly concluded the boy was under full demonic possession. During one of the attempted exorcisms, Arnie, David's sister's boyfriend, made a fatal mistake. He yelled at the demon, "Take me instead." And according to the Warrens, it did. Arnie began to change. He'd slip into violent trances, black out and wake up miles from home. He said he saw beasts in the trees, faces in the mirrors, and that something was inside him, laughing. Then came that February night. A heated argument over lunch spiraled into sudden rage. Arnie grabbed his knife and struck. Alan Bono collapsed in a pool of blood. The horror had become reality. The case made national headlines because for the first time in U.S. history, demonic possession was used in a legal defense in a murder trial. Ed and Lorraine Warren backed Arnie's claims, saying the possession had transferred from David into him during the exorcism. They warned police months before that something terrible would happen. Arnie's lawyer even planned to subpoena the Catholic Church to testify, but the judge rejected it outright, ruling that "the devil made me do it" had no legal standing. Possession wasn't a defense. It wasn't science. It wasn't allowed in court. Arnie was convicted of first-degree manslaughter and served just 5 years. He rarely spoke about it again, but Lorraine Warren never wavered. "The demon left David," she said, "and it went into Arnie." The court dismissed it. The media moved on. But what really happened that night, only the devil knows. The Warrens knew that demons could possess people, but sometimes they latched onto something else. Not a soul, an object. One so dangerous, they locked it in a glass case deep inside their museum, sealed with prayers, surrounded by relics, and marked with a chilling sign. Warning, positively do not open. In the early 1970s, 2 young nursing students, Donnie and Angie, shared a modest apartment in Hartford, Connecticut. Life was simple until Donna received a gift from her mother, an old Raggedy Ann doll. At first, it was nothing more than decoration. They placed it on the bed, but soon it started to move. At first, it was subtle, a shift in posture, a slight turn of the head. Then they began finding it in different rooms entirely. One day it would be on the couch, the next, kneeling in the hallway. Doors they had locked were suddenly open. Windows were found cracked. And then came the messages. Slips of parchment paper began appearing, written in shaky, childlike scrawl. "Help us. Help Lou." The writing appeared to be done in blood. Terrified, they contacted a medium. She told him the spirit of a young girl named Annabelle Higgins had died tragically near their building. She said the spirit had latched onto the doll, lonely, afraid, and only wanted love. Moved by sympathy, Donna said she can stay. That was the mistake. The activity escalated fast. The doll was now being found standing, not sitting, thrown across the room by unseen hands. The girls began waking up with scratches, bruises, and the feeling of being watched. Then came Lou, a friend who never trusted the doll. One night, he awoke in terror. Annabelle was sitting on his chest. Frozen in fear, he couldn't move, and suddenly felt a burning sensation across his torso. When he looked down, 3 deep claw marks slashed across his skin. That was the final straw. Enter Ed and Lorraine Warren. The moment Lorraine stepped into the apartment, she felt it, a non-human entity. This wasn't a child's ghost. It was a demonic force, using the story of a lost girl to manipulate its way into their lives. The Warrens took Annabelle and sealed her in a glass case at their occult museum, surrounded by rosaries, holy water, and a warning: positively do not open. One visitor once mocked the doll, laughing and tapping on the glass. He died in a motorcycle crash hours later. To this day, Annabelle is considered one of the most dangerous haunted objects on Earth, sealed behind glass, unmoving. But if you believe the stories, she's still awake. 3 cases, 3 demonic forces, and 1 couple who faced them all, armed with nothing but their faith. The movies gave you jump scares, but these stories, these were real. And according to the Warrens, there are hundreds more just like them. The Snedeker House, Arnie Johnson, Annabelle. All investigated, all documented. But the most terrifying part? The evil didn't end when the credits rolled. It's still out there, waiting, watching. And we'll be back to tell you all about it. New stories drop every Friday at 5 p.m. So if you haven't already, hit subscribe and join us before the next one finds you. Stay curious, stay safe, and whatever you do, don't invite anything in.